The scary part for most athletes is they don't understand where the resistance is to them becoming better, for them to become faster, for them to become stronger. The resistance lies in a very specific place, and it starts with you becoming aware of the fact that you are asleep and unconscious 95% of the day, thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same feelings, making the same decisions, acting the same way, and therefore getting the same results, and then wondering why nothing's changed. Well, it's because that's how things work. Your brain weighs about 2 pounds and is about 2% of your body weight. However, it consumes 20% of your energy. Why is that important? Well, because habits are an energy conservation play. They save energy by not exhausting your mind by thinking about everything so much. So everything becomes an automation that happens in your body, right? And your mind as well, but you're always thinking the same ways. You have the same beliefs, the same values. Everything's the same. You're consistent, which is great. However, how do you create change? And the way to create change is simple. You need to start by hitting the pause button. Hitting the pause button invites you to go from being unconscious to conscious, from no choice to choice, from no freedom to freedom, to making a better decision than you've made in the past. And so the way that we do this is by the power of the pause. You can't get away from the value of pause. Pause is the most powerful skill you can develop. It's hitting the pause button and checking in with yourself. What am I thinking about? What am I feeling? What's holding me back right now? Where's the resistance? Or maybe even where's the 1%? How can I be 1% a better listener? How can I be 1% more committed to the weights at the gym? How can I be 1% more committed to my training? It doesn't matter where the 1% is. What matters is the fact that you stopped for a moment and recognized the fact that you're at least searching for it. You're at least curious about it. You're wondering about it. So many of us don't understand where our resistance is, but this is where it lies. And so one of the skills you can develop is the power of pause. And the way to do that is very simple. You're basically building your self-awareness, awareness of how you think, what you focus on, what you value, what you think is important, how you approach things, right? And then what you can do when you pause is you can say, okay, this is how I'm currently thinking, feeling, acting, behaving, deciding, but all of that is getting me this result, but this is not the result I'm looking for. So therefore, if I can get clear on who my desired self is, and I can think about, well, what would my desired self focus on right now? What would my desired self think of? What would they feel like? What values are important to them? Then you start to get clarity on where you are now and where you want to go in the near future. And then at that point, you at least have an idea of where the ship is at, where it's been off course, how to kind of shift 1%, right? And that's all you need to do, by the way. It's just a 1% shift. It's just changing direction by 1%. It's thinking 1% all the time because 1% is simple. It's easy. It doesn't feel like effort, right? So, a lot of us are always thinking about how we want to become better, and that's great. We should. However, I find, in my experience, working with athletes for 8, 9 years now, whatever the math is that when you start to gain clarity on where the resistance is, it just seems to be that much more obvious. Because then what you start to do is you just remove the points of resistance. It's like peeling back an onion. You're just peeling one layer at a time, the next, and then the next, and then the next. And each time you pull one of those layers, you get closer and closer to the core of where you want to be. And that visual, that imagining things that way just seems to make it easier for people, especially if you look at it knowing that in the center of that onion is exactly who you want to be, and it's already there. The onion's already in your hand. You already possess it. You just need to remove the things that are holding you back from getting to that center. And so the next time you think about how to improve, I want you to think about this. I want you to pause. Where's the 1%? How can I change the way I think? How can I elevate my vibe, change direction, change course? Where's the resistance, right? Identify who your current self is, your values, your thoughts, your beliefs, your narratives, your stories, and think about what outcomes you get as a result of them. And then think about what an alternative strategy would be. What would your desired self look like? That is the game. The game is to identify that gap and then chip away and close that distance between your current self and your desired self. That's the game. That's shifting your identity. That's becoming a better version of yourself. That's becoming you 2.0, you 3.0. And it's not that difficult, but what it does require is for you to master the skill of hitting the pause button and checking in with yourself and breaking the habit of being yourself so you can be a better version of yourself. Hope this helps. If you want to work with me, you know where to find me. Talk soon.